Well, it's a very good morning from him, that bloke sitting on the stool, and it's a very good morning from me. Hope everybody's all well and good. Let's head off into the studio and say hi. Good morning, I'm Paul Archer. But of course, you know that because it's my live stream and actually a podcast now as well. We're shoving this out on a decent platform now into podcast world. So we're using Podbean now to distribute the podcast out. So if you're not listening to the live video, you can be listening to the live or the recorded podcast. Anyway, enough of that. We're rebranding. We're calling it Paul Archer's Mortgage Insights. There, that's a fabulous title for you. Hope you're all right. Hope you're well. Let's go online, shall we? Or on air, as we should say. Hope you're all right. It's beautiful Monday morning here in February in the United Kingdom. Spring may well be in the air, but there is talk of some colder weather coming in. So we had a festival of rugby this weekend, although England got beaten, I think fair and square. But my football team is third in the league, so all is good on the football side of things. Not so good on rugby, unless of course you're a Scotland supporter and Ireland supporter as well. Anyway, you probably aren't either, so let's get on to talk about mortgages and things. And chatting to my barber this morning, yes, fresh haircut. And we were talking about mortgage rates because everybody does, isn't it? And he's got a couple of fixed rates on his buy to let coming up next year. He's wondering what to do. And he's of an age like me when he does remember higher interest rates. And of course, these rates are going to be the same. We had the Bank of England pop them up last week, but that was the variable. So, of course, all trackers have gone up, haven't they? But the fixed rate mortgage market seems to have priced it all in, particularly the longer term stuff like the 10-year mortgages are slightly coming down because a 10-year fixed rate takes into account that rates will come down. And the gilt market, of course, has already factored that in. So we're seeing rates stabilising, which is good. They may trickle up the bank base rate by another half, possibly. I think they will. But even the Bank of England has said that they got their forecasts of the doom and gloom of the economy. Last autumn, Bailey came on and said the economy is going to crash. We're going to have mass inflation, mass unemployment, riots on the streets, and locust infestation, all that kind of stuff. But he's now come back and sort of passionately said that things aren't going to be so bad. So we'll see. Will the market pick up later in the year? Probably will do. But mortgage advisors are keeping themselves very busy with refinancing and remortgaging because there's a lot of people needing that help over the next few months or even a year. So quite a lot happening, really. Now, I got thinking last week about, I've got two things to talk about today, but I want to talk about protection and I want to give you a sales skill straight from NLP, a little bit hypnotic for you as well. I think you'll like this one. But that's coming up in about a couple of minutes' time. But I got thinking from last week when I did the photographs of the protection or the life insurance company, Dead Happy, their adverts, which of course got picked up by the industry and the Advertising Standards Authority, and they had their tail between their legs and they got a bit embarrassed, didn't they? But you got to be thinking about the protection marketplace because Dead Happy are pretty good at getting attention, particularly from the younger generation, because their adverts go viral on the internet, on the TikToks and the WhatsApps and all the different social media sites. And of course, that's where the younger generation hang out, particularly the Gen Zs. Now, the Gen Zs are kind of like the eldest ones, about 22, 23. So not many of them are buying property. Gen Ys are, of course, but they do share a lot of the same traits. So the article I read actually is a really interesting article about protection and advising protection to clients. And the majority of your mortgage clients are getting younger. And I think what's happened in the last few years is that we're still advising or selling, or call it what you like, protection, maybe in an old-fashioned way. And it just got me thinking, maybe we need to shake it up because the younger generation don't appeal. It doesn't appeal to them, protection. The way that we market it and sell it doesn't appeal to them. And maybe we need a good old look at it. And the article was talking about, was quoting a number of younger financial advisors, mortgage protection advisors, who are trying different things to appeal to their audience. And it fascinated me. And there was one guy, I can't remember his name now, but he actually has a market stall on a Sunday morning. Local to his place, and we're probably not talking about the veg markets. I mean, I grew up in London when we had veg markets and stuff. We're talking about posh ones, probably. We got them here in Cheltenham, posh markets, I call them. But he had a stall there in which he was selling the service, and he got talking to loads of people about protection. It was a protection stall. What's that all about? How clever! And his aim was to get a number of leads, number of prospects as a result of having this stall. And he got chatting to the younger people. I bet you he didn't wear a suit and tie. That's a thing of the past now, isn't it? Nobody wears suits and ties anymore, unless you're in the financial services sector and you're at some awards dinner. But so the fact is, he related to the younger people who came up to him, got chatting, got talking, just to get a bit of new business. I thought it was brilliant. And the other part of the article talked about some of the new features of the insurance companies that are marketing their own products and services to the younger generation. Because the younger generation, you see, the different things appeal to them. And two companies came to mind. Vitality came up first of all. Vitality, I was thinking about, because they've been promoting on the telly their Apple Watch, which of course is all about monitoring all your health, etc. And that comes part of the deal. And I thought that was quite clever. And gym membership, which of course all young people belong to gyms now, more as a rite of passage than a way of keeping fit. But Vitality are giving that as part of their package. I think that's really clever. And they're promoting those things as opposed to the the picture of the dead person and what would happen if you died. And the other company, your favourite company, Cirencester Friendly, you may have come across with them. I'm sure you've heard of them. You may not have dealt with them. Good bunch of people down there. And they've got income protection as opposed to life assurance. And they've got a number of features. One I like is called Red Ark, as in like Noah's Ark, but it's called Red Ark. Brilliant name, isn't it? But this is a mental health kind of charity which you can have access to as part of the income protection. Mental health. It's so important nowadays. And younger people, or people young at heart, I should say, really concern themselves about mental health as opposed to physical health. And that's something that they promote a little bit. They don't promote it as much as they should, I think. And maybe they need to look at that. But that's down to them, of course, to operate. And of course, social media comes into its own right, doesn't it? Younger people like to deal with social media when it comes to anything. So promoters of protection are using social media much better than some of the old guard are at reaching the younger generation. Dead happy using social media. You can't not use it, and you make sure that you need to use the right ones that younger people are using. Like your Facebook's no good, is it? So you need to be looking at things like your TikToks and your Instagrams. You need to be using influencers. Does any life insurance company use influencers to influence young people to think about protection? I don't know if they do. I'm sure they thought about it. They've got plenty of young people in their marketing departments to work it through. But that's something to think about as well. And the final quote actually came from a friend of mine. I met him a couple of times, Ian McKenna, good guy, very good journalist, actually. He's very switched on, always ahead of the curve. And he was talking about the attitude of young protection advisors. And he was picking up the fact that these young protection advisors, although of course they need to earn commission and income, they passionately believe, they see it as a vocation. That was his quote. They see it as a vocation and passionately believe in protection for younger clients of theirs, as opposed to the old guard who probably think more of commission. How many mortgage brokers sell protection for the commission? Okay, you've got to pay the bills. Nobody runs on vapor or thin air, but it's your attitude that comes across. No, I thought it's really good. They passionately believe in selling protection. They see it as their vocation. Isn't that cool? So that gets you thinking about protection. If you are in the market to sell or market protection, prospecting for new business, take a think about how you currently do it. Are you the boss? Do you run a team of advisors? If that's the case, think about how you teach and train and coach them. Do you need to relook at the way that you prospect and market protection to younger people, especially? I think we need to do something. The market needs shaking up. Hope that's been useful. Great stuff. Okay, let's get on to another topic for you, which bit of a bonus really. It's a sales skill because as an advisor, you do need to sell or advise, communicate to people, influence people. And this one's an influencing skill that I want to share with you. It's pretty cool stuff. So let's see if you enjoy this one. I'm going to head over to the whiteboard for this one because I can. So let's head over here, shall we? Here's the whiteboard because I just want to write a few things down, draw a few pictures with this particular sales skill for you. Hope you're all right. Hope you're enjoying your week. The weather's lovely, isn't it? Spring's on its way, hopefully. Now, when we talk about spring, we often feel better and good about ourselves and sunshine, etc. And that's what influencing customers is about. It's about using your skills as a communicator to be able to influence people. So that's really the topic that we're looking at, influencing. Now, influencing, I think, is a great word to use when we think about selling, because influencing is very much pull. You're pulling people towards the objectives that you've both got. They've got the objective, you've got the objective. You're pulling them towards action effectively. It's not pushing, it's not manipulation or persuading. Those things are not good, are they? Influencing is good. And the one I want to share with you comes from the NLP toolbox. Now, I talk about NLP a lot, you know that. And I talk about an NLP toolbox, which is a metaphor. I do a bit of DIY at the weekends. Well, it wasn't DIY, just put a couple of pictures up on the wall, which is not DIY, isn't it? Went to my toolbox, got a spirit level, got a hammer, I got some picture frame hooks and a tape measure, and I put these pictures up on the wall, which were lovely. Now, in advising or communicating with people at any given time, you go to your NLP toolbox. And your NLP toolbox has got a number of tools in there that you would use at random according to the situation. And I talk about 15, 16 different tools. It's in my book as well. You might want to get hold of that. But the one today is called pattern interrupting. Pattern, there you go, interrupting. Now, that's a big word to spell on a Monday morning, isn't it? Pattern interrupting, pattern interrupts. And I was reading about wasps. Of course, wasps are a bit of a pest, aren't they? But they do a lot of good, apparently. And badgers. So that's got your attention, isn't it? And that's what pattern interrupting is. It's about getting your attention with a slight interruption in the pattern in which you're going on. Now, I was talking about NLP and influencing. Suddenly, I talked about badgers, completely different topic. And that's the point. It's quite a simple tool. You interrupt the pattern that the customer and you are on. I'll come back to the badger thing at the end for you as well, which is pretty cool. So where would you use a pattern interrupt? Well, you'd use it when you need to get some special attention from your client. Maybe you've been chit-chatting and rapport building and you want to get into business. You might want to use it then as well. Maybe you've gone down an alleyway of a conversation that you want to come back out again and do something else. Maybe you just want to change the topic. Maybe you've had some mild pushback on something and you just want to just move on to a different topic and just park it. That's where you would use pattern interrupting. So there's plenty of uses. So how does it work then? Well, quite simply, you do or say something that's unusual. That's all. A couple of examples for you. You might say, oh gosh, is that the time? It's just, it's not pretty brilliant, is it? But it kind of just interrupts things, isn't it? So is that the time? So you quickly look at your watch. There might be a noise or something, you know, a wasp in the room or something. Or, oh, did you hear that? Yeah, it might be one as well. Oh, we must press the pause button on that one. Might just be a pattern interrupt. Did you watch the match yet? Oh, did you watch the match yesterday? Might be another pattern interrupt. Oh gosh, did you hear that? You know, or something that just completely interrupts the pattern. You'll get used to these things. You say something, do something that completely changes things. So that's how you do it. It's really useful, actually. One I find it useful for is mild pushback. Now we call it pushback nowadays, isn't it? And I call it COB. That's my pushback. I've talked about that before. Now, when people make objections, you obviously have to handle those. So there's your objections. You obviously have to handle objections. But COB stands for other things. It stands for knee-jerk reactions, knee-jerk, and brush-offs. Often you get these when you're trying to prospect for new business, talk to a potential customer about a meeting, maybe 15-minute discovery calls. You might get a brush-off from them. Or it might be a knee-jerk reaction. Oh, I haven't got time, or you know, a quick pushback. In those situations, sometimes you just need to park it and restate what you want. So you could say something like, "Yeah, I get it. I understand." Oh, what was that noise? Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, all I'm asking for is just a 15-minute discovery call so we can talk about your goals and see if there's some value in us moving forward. How does Thursday sound to you? Again, you're just interrupting their flow a little bit with the pattern interrupt. It's quite, I know, quite hypnotic. and you might like or not like that. That's in the toolbox, by the way. Hypnosis, not Paul McKenna style, 3, 2, 1, you're under, that kind of stuff. That's ridiculous. Hypnotic conversation, it's in the patterns of the words that you use. You might want to think about doing that as well. So that's pattern interrupts. I particularly like it when you get to the stage where you need to get into business. You're chatting about all sorts of things. You're just gassing, aren't you? Sometimes then it's a great thing just to interrupt. Oh gosh, is that the time? Oh, we've got to pause that now, haven't we? Before you then move on to the next stage. And by the way, badgers, if you're interested in wasps and badgers for you. Now, a lot of people know this. I didn't know this until I looked it up, but one of the greatest enemies that wasps have are badgers. Badgers love a wasp's nest, all the grubs, and they eat the lot apparently. And what happens to a badger is that they find the nest and they've got these tough front paws, which they then do this to get into the wasp's nest and eat all the goodies that they find inside the wasp's nest. And that's the point, you see. A wasp, if a badger's doing that to them, has been attacked, so the wasp will attack back, and they do attack as much as they can. Isn't it funny that when you're having your ploughman's lunch in the pub on an August afternoon, sun shining, and you get attacked by a wasp, what's the first thing we do? We go like this, don't we? Like that. We imitate badgers. And because we imitate badgers, the wasp thinks you're a badger, so it'll get his mates in as well, which is why you 2 or 3 wasps turn up to attack you because they think you're a badger. There you go. Bet you didn't know that. So that's pattern interrupting. Loads of more tools on the NLP toolbox. I'll share these with you if you're interested as we progress. But they're good, they're ethical, they help the meeting move along to the right conclusion, which is absolutely what everybody wants to do. It just oils the communication smoothness of the whole thing. So that's pattern interrupting. Hope that's been useful. Bye. There you go. Did you like that one, did you? Did you like the badger? You think about it, actually. When you get hit by a wasp, it's the first thing you do, isn't it? You do this. Go away, wasp. But you're just imitating a badger. I bet a few of you are doing that now in your offices as you listen to this podcast or watch this live stream. There you go. What's going on in our world? Well, the boot camps are all there. We've got mortgage advisory skills boot camps. If you want to brush up on your communication skills, your NLP skills, we've got a mortgage advisory skills boot camp, which is full of videos of me talking about topics and things for you, just to get your skill sets up to speed. You're doing all this refinancing and remortgaging, of course, but if you want to spend time on improving your skills for when the market does pick up again, maybe later in the year, always a good time to do that. If you're looking at your protection side, we've got a protection boot camp which looks at the protection exams, and of course the equity release is getting a lot of traction in the next few months. A lot of people looking to maybe get that one boxed off by taking the exam and passing it. We've got a workshop coming up actually in when's our workshop? End of February, I think. A 1-day workshop on equity release, which is going to be enough for you to pass the exam. So we promote all these things to our database, by the way, our membership, as we call it. So if you're not on our membership, maybe you're on YouTube channel or you listen to the podcast, head over to our websites and we give you access to the membership, or just email us or go on the website and sign in with your email address, that sort of thing. Once you're on our membership, we email out every Monday night with lots of good information for you, because our job, remember, is to make as many good mortgage advisors as possible who eventually migrate to financial advisors, so that people get the advice they need at a good price too. Anyway, enough of that. Enjoy your week. Enjoy the lovely weather. It's going to be great this week. Cold, I get that, especially at night, but nice and sunny, which gets that vitamin D going, doesn't it? Anyway, enjoy yourself, and we'll catch you again next week. So it's goodbye from me. Let's put a bit of music on to say goodbye, shall we? There we go. Nice tune, wasn't it? Hope you enjoyed it. See you again next week.